Because I have the habit of hopping all over the place while I'm talking, I made this little list of things that I was going to review during this vlog while I'm driving, and then towards the very end, I do a bit of a review just to finalize anything I might have said. So if it's easier for you and you want a bit of a shorter video, feel free to skip to the end so you can get that review and still take away the points I was trying to make without all that extra chatter. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.
There's a slightly stressful situation going on right now. I have a 4.5 hour car trip back home. For some reason, this route seems to be a bit cursed for me because the 3 times I've driven it, I've been stuck in some kind of inclement weather. The first time was the first time I had driven anywhere directly after getting my license. And the fun part, it was a massive snowstorm that hit only when I was driving back. The cars were sliding everywhere, the windshield was icing over, it was really terrible. Second time, a bit of snow, high winds, blowing cars everywhere. And this time, again, the snow hit. People were sliding off the roads. I just tried to brake slowly, and it gave me this feedback. What is that? There are people slid off the road. So I'm a little stressed right now because, well, one gets a bit stressed if your brakes stop working out of the blue. The speed limit here is usually 70 miles an hour, and it is currently 45 miles an hour. So that's beautiful and fun. Anyways, we're breathing, we're keeping ourselves calm because you can only focus with a strong mind. We are going to enjoy this. The reason that I wanted to film today is I wanted to speak on how I've decided to start slowing down a bit more in my life. For context, I've always been a go, go, go person. I always strove for the best. I wanted to get good grades in school. I was part of the honor societies. I volunteered. I did all these things. And I enjoyed it. But it was never enough. There was always one more thing I thought I should be doing. And that moved into high school, where I decided, okay, I'm enjoying myself, but I want to do more. So I did dual enrollment and am now graduated at 18 with an associate's. I have an associate's degree. But I 2 years in high school. One of them was homeschooling during the COVID era. And then I decided, all right, 1 year here is enough for me. 1 year actually in the school. And I moved to college. And it was all great fun. I did my 2 years and I just got off of an internship at Disney. But I've realized that while I'm pushing, I get burnt out and I lose myself a bit in my day-to-day. And I think I've underestimated the importance of taking life a bit slower. I'm not saying I want to spend my days sitting on a couch scrolling on my phone. That is the opposite of what I want. I'm more so saying that I believe it's important to focus on narrowing down what it is that is actually important for me to focus on and doing that one thing, doing those few things. As an example, generally every new year, I sit down and I write about 20 different goals and plans that I have for the year. And you know how that goes. I generally don't get to all of them. And if I do, I lightly touch on them because I don't have time to become a painter, a race car driver, and a pilot. This year, I said, I really had to sit down and say, I've been doing this for quite a few years now, and obviously it's not working. That was difficult for me. I didn't like telling myself I couldn't do these 20 things. That was that. I don't like that. But it was an important process for me to go through because this year's resolutions, I had to sit down with myself for hours, going over the things I thought were important. One of them being language learning. I wanted to learn Italian for a while, so every year I put it on my resolution, become fluent in Italian, and I'll study it on the side. But I can tell that I'm not actually learning and absorbing the material. So this year, as much as I want to learn Italian, I knew that it wasn't what I wanted to focus on. And I narrowed it down to a few things. I wanted to get back into writing, and I wanted to work on my career and my finances. Those were my 2 goals. Now, of course, I have subcategories of things I want to focus on. I want to focus on my art a bit more. I want to, of course, keep up with my physical health and well-being, general things. But I sat down and said, writing and financial growth are the 2 goals that I have for this year. Just 2. And having to make that decision actually helped me to narrow down what it is that I truly wanted. I cut out all these other things. I didn't want to do these 20 other things. And I didn't know that until I said, no, I'm not going to do all these things. I don't have time for that. I do need to take a step back. I do need to slow down. And upon realizing that, and upon giving myself the space to decide what it was that was truly important to me in my life, I've found that I've been more productive in the first 3 months of this year than I have been in not all of last year. I wasn't unproductive, but I've been more productive in these first 3 months than I was in a 3 month period of time last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, because I changed the system I was using to measure progress and productivity. Now that I've slowed down and put more valuable time, more deep work sessions into these few things that I truly wish to focus on, I've seen so much more progress than I did when I was working on 5 or 10 things at once. And I think that the importance of this is often overlooked in this, not to sound like a broken record, rat race that we call, the work. This is the lifestyle that is most often pushed these days, is to be the best, to do the most, to do everything. And that is the way you come out on top. But I've found that, again, by slowing down, I found so much more joy in my life as well. I don't feel more tired, but I'm still working long, hard hours. It's not so much that you're putting down everything and turning your back on yourself. You're putting aside the expectations of others, these thoughts that you created because it fit societal standards, and you're giving that time to yourself. So when you're not working, you're actually resting. That's a big one for me. Now I, again, have slowed down on what I consume, what my inputs are. I've gotten rid of Instagram, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I always made excuses for myself. Oh, I need to stay in contact with these friends. I like it. I enjoy it. I can control the amount that I use it. No. As soon as I removed it from my phone, the day after, I felt 10 times better, 10 times more productive, and just like a weight had been lifted off my chest. Because for all of these years, I've been telling myself, I'll get rid of it. I've had it for maybe 2 years because I got it initially to speak with friends that I have who don't have US numbers. But all this time, ever since I got it, I could see the side effects it was having on the quality of my work and the amount of time I spent sitting and scrolling. I hate to say, but people are right when they say it really is the phone. I've been on my phone much less. I've been able to focus for longer periods of time, and I've only been off of Instagram for a week. 1 week's difference. That is how much of an effect it was having on me, that I didn't fully realize, but I could feel it. If I scrolled for too long, if I got caught up in that loop and then had to go do something later that day, I felt anxious. I felt like my body was revolting. And the reason being, well, my body was revolting. We're not built to sit and rest in that manner. And again, by narrowing down what it was that I needed, what I wanted, I was able to give myself the rest my body actually needs. I take naps sometimes. I'll go on walks outside. I'll spend time with my animals. Those are all restful activities. And then I'm actually rested and ready to be working on these different projects. This YouTube channel, for example, I just started it because it's always been an idea in the back of my head. But I never had time. I didn't have time to learn how to edit. I didn't have time to learn how to film. I didn't know what I wanted. I've learned to trust the timing of my life. By taking a step back from the hustle and bustle that is so heavily pushed, I realized that some of the things I was working on weren't fulfilling me in the ways that they were meant to. And that doesn't mean they're the wrong things, but I'm the wrong person for everything I was striving for. And I realized that when I sit down and look around, I'm exactly where my younger self would have wanted me to be, right in this moment. But you can't really tell if you're so focused on the future and you're not paying attention to where you are in this very moment. And I've truly learned to trust, yes, the timing of my life. How was it that just a month ago, or I believe it was 3 months ago, out of the blue, I open Indeed, I have a job offer. I like to apply to a few jobs here and there just to see jobs that I don't feel I'm qualified for, but I apply anyways. I opened it to that job offer just around the time I was starting to get worried. Oh, my internship is ending. What am I going to do when I go back home? And that was it. I was ready for the next thing. The interview process, 3 rounds of interviewing, and I got the job. Is that not the perfect timing? Is that not the perfect timing? Had I stressed and searched for jobs, I may have settled for something I wouldn't have enjoyed as much. I've never had this job before, and yet it's something new and exciting, and I'm ready to test myself in this. But had I been worried about finding money and getting this job quicker as opposed to getting a quality job, I might have just applied for things I was fully capable of doing. Yeah, didn't need much training, and paid okay. Well, why would I do that if I trust that the right thing will come to me in its own time? And it did. That's the thing. It would only be crazy if these things didn't line up exactly as they were meant to be. This has been proven to me time and time again. When it is right, it will come to you. It will. If you're in a down spot in your life, that is time for you to be learning those lessons, to be making that growth. You are building a foundation so you are ready when that opportunity comes at you. If you were to have an opportunity so vast, but you hadn't built the mindset yet that you are capable of anything, that you could do anything you set your mind to, you're going to bypass that opportunity, which is why that opportunity does not show up for you, because it's outside of your wavelength. You don't see it because it does not exist in your timeline right now. And so trusting in your timeline and just focusing on the present, focusing on yourself, focusing on what it is you want in that moment, that is the important thing. Something that I found to be true, more true than I ever could have expected, is slowing down doesn't mean that you are dropping the ball, that you are letting yourself go, that you are giving up on your dreams and desires. Slowing down is actually you matching the pace of your timeline and where you are meant to be. I have reached my goals faster than I ever have when I was trying to do everything at once, because I'm meticulous, I'm direct, I am laser focused on what my goals are, but I'm moving slow enough to make the right decisions, to put in quality work, and yes, eventually to reach that goal, to reach that desire. And when you're moving slowly, you're gaining these lessons. You're getting this growth from it that you wouldn't get if you rushed by it. You wouldn't get if you didn't take the time to learn those lessons, to take in what's going on around you. By slowing down, you're able to access these things. Not everything that we want in our life needs to happen right now. Some things we're not ready for. Some things we don't have the time or the energy, or it's not on our wavelength right now to have in this moment. And so understanding that and not putting that pressure on us also relieves us of the guilt of not reaching 20 plus goals at this point in your life. You have time for everything you were meant to accomplish. But some things need time to bloom. Some things develop underground. Again, humans are like plants. When a seed is put into the soil, it has a germination period where you can't see it above the surface. Roots grow down, and you might be able to see a little bit of green on top, but while it's building that foundation, that's where its energy is going. The things people can't see. It's hidden from the naked eye. It's internal. It's below ground. It's building that foundation for yourself to support when this beautiful flower flourishes, when it blooms. If you have a heavy bloom with big, rich leaves and weak roots, the flower will fall over in no time with the smallest gust of wind. But when you have this gorgeous, brilliant flower, this gorgeous, brilliant dream, desire, goal, and you have strong roots that are spread out and latched on, your flower will stand strong in the harshest of winds, through the worst of storms. And giving yourself time to remember that, giving yourself that grace and understanding, is a key part of what allows you to eventually reach those goals. And this goes for whatever your faith is. Whatever you put your faith in, whatever it is that you believe in, everything that is meant to happen will happen on its own timeline. All you can do is ensure you taking the lessons from these experiences that you will need in the future when those times do come. And I say it because I've lived it time and time again. I've lived it, I have lived it, I have lived it, and I believe it.
I just wanted to tie up a few things because I know I kind of threw a lot at you guys all at once, and I think it would be helpful to just do a quick review and a few closing thoughts. There are three main things that I want to review, and I kind of covered that all in those 15 something minutes of talking, but I'm going to narrow them down. And if you want to note this down in a notebook or something so that you can keep it at the forefront of your mind in the future, now would be the perfect time for that. So there are three key components that I want to review. The first one being the overarching focus of this entire video, and that is the importance of slowing down and focusing on fewer and more meaningful goals. Now, by fewer and more meaningful goals, my point was not to put aside your dreams, put aside your desires, but it was really the importance of sitting with yourself and deciding which of your goals, all of which you can and probably will, complete sometime in the future. But it was really about sitting with yourself and deciding what ones are you capable of completing now with your full energy, with your full passion. Because as much as we would all love to do 20 things at once, it's not possible. Or if you are doing those 20 things at once, the quality is probably not as great as you would like it to be. So it's vital for us to kind of narrow down what it is that we truly want to focus on. You can do that in a weekly period, a monthly period, quarterly, yearly, whatever it is that you choose. But choose a time frame and choose which goals are most important during that time frame. And then at the end, you're able to revise and see if there's anything you want to change, see if you've accomplished that goal and what you might want to replace it with. But you can't do everything at once. You're going to get burnt out, and the quality is probably not going to be that great. The second point that I really want to highlight is the importance of lessening the distractions around you. Now, even if we're only working on one or two goals, if we fill our free time with a variety of scrolling on social medias or other activities that don't really add value to our life, then we're not actually resting on our off time. And so your brain is still running full speed, taking in all this different information and not actually giving yourself that rest. So, again, for that second important point, reducing the distractions, especially social media, especially social media. And I say that as someone who was a chronic scroller and I'm only just recently getting off of that. It has improved my productivity astronomically. So again, the quality of work that I'm putting into those few goals is now up here as opposed to down here. And so I'm making this much more progress, focusing on fewer things, slowing down, controlling the inputs, and I'm also controlling the outputs. Because again, if you're putting out the work of 2 or 3 people, you can only do that for a short span of time. And if you're taking in the input of thousands of people as you're scrolling on your phone, it's going to overload your brain over time. And you won't have the energy to do all of these different things because your brain will be full of all these other ideas. And it blocks creativity and it blocks productivity, both of which are vital in life. And the third point that I want to make is to truly trust in the timing of your life and to live in the present. Whether you are worrying about what is going to happen in the future, stressing over it, really putting all of that negative energy into what ifs, oh no, what if this were to happen, this, oh my goodness, all of that, that is taking up your mental space. So again, focus on the present. And when you're able to train your brain to trust that the things that are meant for you will find you, when you have discovered that for yourself and you are settled into that mindset, you are set for life. And then working on those one or two goals, slowing down will become easy for you because you know if it is meant for you, it will come to you at the correct time. And so you're comfortable with working on these one or two things because you know, okay, if it were really that important, then I would be working on it right now. You would feel a calling to it, and you would have the time to take care of those things or do those things or work on those projects. Looking back at everything I've said, I realize, at least for me, that the biggest takeaway is that slowing down is not about giving up or becoming lazy, which I truly thought it was for the longest period of time. Slowing down is about giving yourself the space and time and rest to grow that is needed to grow. Again, a flower can only bloom if it has the rest time, if it has all the nutrients it needs, and yes, it puts in the work. So, like a flower, give yourself that time to grow, be patient, give the nutrients it needs, and watch yourself flourish. I would highly suggest sitting down with yourself, with some tea and a journal or even just your notes app, and really decide with yourself, okay, I want to make it a point to give myself my time back, to give myself my control back, and live that slower life, mentally slower, kind of reeling it back in from the chaos that is so heavily pushed. Decide what it is that you find important and work on those things. And when you're not working on those things, actually rest. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything you want me to talk about, and if I have experience in it, and if I have any advice I think is valuable for me to share, I would be happy to do a video on it. Thank you guys so much, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I hope you have a lovely day.